So I think, yes, there's sound now. We should be live from HQ Barcelona. This is Ben Around the World, episode 10 with Ben Bowler and myself, Dan Formless, powered by Hoxton FM, which means that it's all my kit.
Yes,
yeah?
And it's the first time we're together in the same place for this podcast.
Yeah, we really are. Look, we can
crazy.
do the high five.
Photoshop it later on.
So we've moved up onto the mezzanine level at HQ, which is a really cool big open space. It seemed like a good idea when we set up, but basically everyone here is smoking cannabis. It's a cannabis club for people who like a nice environment when they're chilling out. But we're basically where all the air is collecting, where all the smoke is collecting. There are extractor fans, there are skylights.
But there's slight haze up here, so...
Yeah, and later on tonight I'll be doing a Hoxton FM live stream with myself and Moria and Boffa, who are my guests. They're both based here in Barcelona. They're making amazing music out on their own label, and I'm really excited to have them. I'm even more excited to have Ben controlling my live stream when I play at 1900 to 2100. We've just had some nice food over the road. We're not having any food comas because we didn't eat any heavy carbs or meats.
Yeah, it's something that's pretty incredible coming from Southeast Asia to Europe. The amount of just rich food you can get.
So wait a minute, are you vegetarian? Are you vegan? What's going on
vegetarian,
right
now? Veggie right now, yeah. I can't avoid cheese, unfortunately, in the places I've been. But did I give you the vegan bug? No.
Knowing that you did it made it easier to get into. But I've flexed quite a bit. I'm flexing on the Tarian. 6 days a week I won't eat dairy or meat, and then the seventh day sometimes some fish, sometimes a pizza. But it really hits me.
Yeah.
It takes a bit out of you, but
yeah.
Got to enjoy your life, right? You can't just.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty good. More than most, I say.
So speaking of enjoying your life, Ben, you're cycling around the world.
Yeah.
And you're currently taking a holiday, which most people who think that cycling around the world is a holiday in itself would not quite understand. But basically, you made it to where? Where did you
made it to Laos, to the capital of Laos, Vientiane, however you pronounce it.
And you've come back here to Barcelona, basically to be able to catch up with family.
Yeah.
Do a bit more paragliding.
Some paragliding, yeah. Although I've done very little of that because I've been very busy with work, and that's the other thing I've been doing, a lot of work, preparing for various different projects. It's quite a busy time work-wise.
Okay, so you're still studying for the degree?
Yeah, very slowly.
Still cycling around the world?
Yeah.
Still running how many businesses?
So I give myself a challenge. I don't know if I said about this, but I decided that I'm giving myself a challenge over the next however many years it takes me to cycle around the world to launch 7 startups along the way for each of the 7 continents around the world.
The 7 wonders of the world?
7 wonders of the world, yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And because I've got, as I imagine you do in different contexts maybe, I've got a big list of stuff that I want to work on. And one thing that I learnt by cycling huge distances every day is just how long a day actually is, how many hours there are in the day. So I've got no excuse now to kind of work on some of those projects, I think. So giving myself a little structure to fit it in. And I've already got Send Music, which has been live for a long time now, and that's growing massively. I launched Stream On while I was in Nepal, live stream forwarding service, which we might play with later on. And the future ones are to be decided. There's audio as well, but that's also to be decided.
So you're launching things that are better than stuff that exists. So, for instance, I would use another popular file transfer service to download something I got sent earlier. What is better about your thing?
Well, Send Music maybe is a slight difference to that. I'd say in terms of the products that are solely me launching them so far, like the idea about Stream On and the idea behind audio is actually to find kind of small holes that that a bigger company couldn't fill.
Yeah.
Like I don't need enough revenue from the businesses to support a team of 20 people necessarily at the beginning. So things like audio and stream on can fit in those spaces where a big company would never build a product like that necessarily.
And they're probably appealing to a niche audience.
Yeah,
as
they're
well.
appealing to a niche audience. They're in my wheelhouse. Obviously, live streaming is something that
Yeah.
that we've been doing for a long time. Music management, professional audio products are something that are very relevant to us as well. So things that I have a lot of knowledge about can be programmed by one person or a small team. I've got a few other people that work with me, but mainly me, and can be run without a lot of input, that kind of stuff. Those businesses fit in that category. So music's a bit different because I've got we're a team of 3 for that one.
And those guys are involved in like Radio 1 and
yeah, they
BBC.
work for a variety of different companies, but yeah, primarily Radio 1 and BBC and First Access and a bunch of other music
already
media
got
companies.
like big people using
Yeah,
the
yeah.
service.
If you look at the directory on there, there's a nice little range of people using it already, which has actually led to quite an interesting growth vector for it. Snowball for it, because the whole idea, I was explaining to one of the guys here why you do send music, and the overarching kind of reason is that it's specifically designed for music, but that's a hard thing to kind of. What does that actually mean? Well, in terms of the directory, it's amazing because you can go in there and you can click on like Mr. Jam's face or Benji B's face, and you can send music directly to his inbox,
So
which is not something you can
exclusive
do.
network right now.
Yeah, that's something that's built up almost
As a side
accidentally,
thing.
or organically as part of the thing.
Because I was going to say, like, let's just establish what the killer application or the unique selling point of each of these projects you're on. So what is the killer application of Send Music?
Well, it's an interesting one. There's a couple of different angles you can come at it from. I mean, but looking at the best use case that there is now, it's the most common use case right now is if you're a DJ or if you're in a place. I imagine that you must have got to, with your position running Hoxton, is that you are just being bombarded with audio coming to you, right? People are sending you music actively because you're in your position that you're in.
Promos are coming via email, going into the spam box. They're going into like 5-6 different promo services that you have to log into each of them. If you don't get it on time, sometimes it expires, you don't get it. Then you've got people sending you private emails. Then you've got people sending you messages on Facebook chat, or like you might get WhatsApp messages sometimes.
Exactly.
Like all these different ways that music's being thrown, and SoundCloud. It's getting thrown directly through SoundCloud and stuff.
Yeah, so that's a perfect example of you're a perfect example of the use case for Send Music, putting that into one centralized inbox. It's definitely, we've got bigger plans for the future for next year. I think we're going to do we've got some interesting stuff that I'm working on now and in the coming weeks to really launch next year, to make it a bit more than that, because I think we can see it really fitting into how the music industry and the music landscape, or the recorded music landscape, is growing at the moment. And like, if you look at what Spotify is doing in terms of the companies they're buying and that kind of stuff, what they're trying to, like, they've built a music player now and it's on phones and TVs and cars and everything, so that's done. So how are they're actually now expanding into the business, right down to having people distribute directly into Spotify and things like that.
It'd be amazing if they started expanding into paying artists. So moving on to the Stream On.
Yeah.
What's the killer application of that, or what?
Yeah, that's like that came out of what we were doing for Chew, basically. Streaming as a DJ. Well, you must hit that again. Like, Club inevitably has like 2 megabit per second connection, and you're trying to stream to YouTube, to Facebook now, to Chew, and
so send it to one place and then let that place in the cloud disseminate to all the other destinations.
And because I've spent 5 years building Chew, I know how to actually put that together. So it was a nice little project putting it together.
And then the one I'm probably most interested in.
This is most relevant to you.
Audio for Mac.
Yes.
So Apple are killing iTunes.
Yeah, in the next update in Catalina, it's being split into Apple Music, the streaming service, with some legacy little bits of iTunes attached onto that. Podcasts and what's the third one? Apple TV for the movies and stuff like that. Yeah. So finally the iTunes brand has disappeared.
I just wondered why our camera is bouncing up and down, and even though that's a concrete staircase,
Still got enough flex in
someone
it.
walks up, we've fixed our camera to something that looks really solid, but I apologise, there is no earthquake in Barcelona right now. So with me, I actually like iTunes because I can organise all my playlists in there, I can organise all my music, I can make it sync with my iPhone, I can make that sync with Tractor if I want to, so that I could play with vinyl timepieces or anything else. I can also make it sync with Rekordbox, which is what I use mostly for my digital music. We recorded how I do all of this.
Yes.
Should we go into that now, or should we talk a bit more around it?
Yeah, we can go through your setup.
This is me going through my setup. I hope it makes sense. I'm giving away a lot of gems here. Lots of people have asked me how they sync with Rekordbox. This is how I do it. I think it's the best way because that's how I do it. And I spent a long time developing this system. It might seem a little bit long-winded, but it works. It works every time. So I'm going to cut out our audio and go to this video. We're going to go through how I organise my music as a DJ. And so we're starting off on this wonderful Send Music screen. So I assume I've just downloaded my music from Send Music, and I'm going to go to my Finder. Here is my new track that's been sent to me by AudioMeUp, and I can just quickly check with this freeware the frequency range, how good quality it is. So I can see it's at 20 kilohertz, so it's a good quality WAV that I've got there. I'll quit that so it doesn't clash with anything. So now I will drag that to my music master folder, which is situated on an SD drive sitting flush inside the computer. So I have one folder in that drive, all my music gets dropped in it. The reason being, if this computer crashes or it's damaged or something, I can pull all my music out and go and use it in another computer. I would probably need the files for iTunes as well. I have those backed up somewhere else. So I've got this new track. I'm firstly going to run it in mixed in key. It's a piece of software I've been using for a long time. This is going to analyse the key, and you have the Camelot wheel that simplifies minor, major and everything else into a number and a letter. So this has now come up as an 11A, and it's renamed the file with 11A in front of it. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to double click. That's going to open in iTunes and start playing. So my iTunes, if I just show you in the preferences, in the advanced preferences, I've chosen for it to look in my music master. I don't let it organise my media folder. I don't want lots of subfolders, and I don't want it to copy stuff in. I want to manually put it there. So that's pretty important to make the most. So just quick organisation. So I want the artist name. There. It's called Low Balanced, and it's on AudioMeUp. So I tend to put the label as the album, and then OK. So that's all labelled nicely. I'm going to drag that into my All Fresh folder. So the last time I updated my Rekordbox playlist was 2016, which is nice. I have a lot of playlists. Just quickly to show you, when I played on Domune the second time, I made a separate playlist. I have Acid, I have certain labels like Apollonia, I have like times like playing in a bar early, real impact songs, classics. I have an exclusives folder where I put stuff that I know only I have. I have yeah, just certain artists, certain labels, or certain vibes. Like the Romanian sound I put in IO. I have a lot of intros. So just different ways of finding my music. So that's all in iTunes. And now what I want to do is I want to transfer that onto this USB stick so that I can use this USB stick and play the music on Rekordbox in my DJ set here later. So I put the stick in and I will load up Rekordbox. It wants me to download a new version, I'm not going to do that. So see, it's analysing 2 tracks. So there's my new track, it's already been loaded in. But to be certain, I can go to iTunes here, I can reload the iTunes playlist to make sure that it's updated that. I can go to my sync manager. So it's synchronizing iTunes playlists. I've already chosen which ones I want. My Rekordbox 2016 is the important one. I have to check here. So I don't want it to sync with that drive, I want it to sync with the X drive I've just put in. So these are selected already. The playlists are already selected, but I just want to make sure that Rekordbox 2016 is selected. I make sure it synchronizes playlists with the device. I click OK. And it will begin to sync, and you see here it starts to transfer the 2, should be just 2 tracks. And I can so it's currently importing the histories. One of the best things about Rekordbox is it remembers what you played and saves it as a history. I think a lot of people don't realise that. So if you played an amazing set last night and you go and you sync your stick, it would have created a histories playlist. So every track you played in order, assuming you didn't play any records, which I will be playing today as well. And that's pretty much it. That's how I sync.
And how could you improve the process? It's a multi-step process. How could you streamline it?
Okay, so you asked me the question how I'd improve the process.
Yeah.
We're keeping that for your records.
I'm going to put this video up, edit it, and put it up on the Kickstarter and on YouTube for the last week. Kickstarter for audio, the app that I'm building to hopefully sit nicely in that process and make the management aspect of music files super clean and simple and easy to find and yeah.
But hopefully everyone who watched who's a DJ understands what I was doing, how I was organising my music. I'm basically taking it from receiving it from multiple sources, making sure it's a good frequency, quality, getting it scanned so I know the key, having it relabeled in that way, getting it into the folder I want to keep it, which is one master folder on an SD card, opening that in iTunes, but iTunes is not set to import a copy or anything like that, putting that in a playlist, then going to Rekordbox, making Rekordbox scan an update of that iTunes playlist, and then do a sync. We could have left the video to run for another 6 minutes if Rekordbox did a sync of 2 tracks.
Yes.
We won't talk too much about Pioneer's proprietary software.
Yeah.
When you're making something that's significantly better.
Yeah.
But yeah, so can you tell us what you're kind of most excited about with doing this software? What you think is going to be the killer application of it?
Yeah. I mean, the first thing actually is just having a nice, clean, beautiful, if I say so myself, app to manage that music in the first place, manage the playlists, manage music files, because iTunes has become so god awful over the years that
it's almost PC-like.
Yeah.
It's
that's probably why it's
like
designed
PC.
to be for the PC more than the Mac. But
are we talking dark mode here?
Dark mode, not necessarily even dark mode. I mean, personally, I don't necessarily use dark mode, but you have to have it. That's kind of the big thing these days. It's more just I mean, the analogy I like to use when people kind of question the place that audio sits in the ecosystem of other apps is in terms of writing apps. And I don't do a great deal of writing, but there's an amazing independent app called Ulysses, which is for writing on the Mac. And obviously you can write in Word or you can write on Google Docs or whatever like that, but just having something that's beautifully designed just for that one use case is so satisfying. I don't know about you, but I find that so satisfying. But beyond that, what that gives us the ability to do, starting just by purely being about managing music files, is then add really interesting stuff. Like, I'd love to get Mixed in Key, it just integrated into that system, so that you didn't have to run it through several apps. And what was the waveform?
There's a really great little bit of freeware software called Spec.
Spec, yeah.
S-P-E-K, I think, and it's a little pig face, as in like how they say ham in Italian. And it's just great because it just does the analysis of it. Because someone can say, oh, this is a really high quality file, but they've ripped it from YouTube and then saved it as a big file. So you can just analyse it and see, or a recording of a record can seem really good, but you can kind of see it's recorded a lot of crackle and pop and hiss, but not the actual, the body of the music. You can see that in there. It's absolutely great bit of software.
Yeah, so just by starting with the file of folders that you already have, I think is key. Not having to, obviously in iTunes now you can go in and check all those boxes, but that's because they really want to bring you into their iTunes ecosystem, right? So by default, it just respects your file structure.
You know what? We have actually just stumbled on something that I always wanted on iTunes. That Rekordbox does have, to be fair. It is that visual representation.
The waveform view.
The waveform. It's just so nice for a DJ or any music person to see what the
actual structure of the track.
It is one of the things I think that made SoundCloud very appealing to people, even though how accurate their depiction is another thing. But
that's brilliant.
Please put
I like the idea of waveform.
Please put that.
Well, it's been a really interesting process because I launched the Kickstarter campaign 2 weeks ago, and I was in two minds about who it would be more appropriate for, and I feel like there's a big audience of people that aren't necessarily DJs or producers, but they have a big collection of probably CD rips or however they found the music on the back of the truck. But the most interest I've got, probably because of the most friends I have, is actually from the DJ side and the producer side, or people that work in the industry and just have a lot of audio files to work with day to day.
It's going to be about making it appeal to those people, but not ostracise the enthusiasts who have the truckloads of CDs that they've ripped, and just make them feel like there's something in there for them. And in actual fact, if you just showed them the visual waveform, maybe even the spec analysis as well, like it's just, and it's colourful, it looks nice. Hey, I think this podcast has just hit on your maybe not your USP, but one of your killer applications. Something that really catches the imagination.
I like that.
Okay, so we've done that. That's on Kickstarter, so people can support that. I've supported that. I'm very much looking forward to my T-shirt. I should say I'm rocking the Grow T-shirt that I got after my party on Sunday. Please come to the next one. It's 11th of August, and I think we've got one of the guys from the smoking room that's gonna come and play as well. He's just checked his flights and they're super cheap. So
sweet crossover.
He and his girlfriend are on the air mattress in my place, I think. So should we retract? The last time we spoke, you have done another podcast with someone else.
I know. Sorry about that.
More like
the interview series,
Last time we spoke, when was it? March? And I was in Tokyo on about the 30th, so 20th or 30th floor. And I had Big Bjork posted behind me.
Big Bjork.
And you were in which city in India?
It must have been Delhi, I think.
You've been ripped off. Well, not really ripped off, but like you've gone to try and see. Is it the Taj Mahal, or you've gone to?
Oh yes, I got a classic. I'd had the full Indian experience with the rickshaw taking you around the houses for 10 times the fare.
And in actual fact, everyone I've spoken to since has told me way worse stories. So you definitely
got away with it.
But what has happened to you since?
Oh my god, it's been unbelievable.
So how many punches have you had?
Well, this is a new update actually. I've reached the point where my tyres, after 17,000 kilometres, it's wearing right through to the inner Kevlar or whatever, and the little bits of wire from the trucks are being pushed slowly further in. So I've had a lot more punctures. After the first,
new tyres, mate.
yeah, that's why I've got them in my bag here in Barcelona.
So you
I'm gonna
bought
fly
some new
back with
tyres
them.
in
I've got new
Barcelona?
tyres, new rim tape, and a new rack off the back to just help distribute the weight a bit better. Because I managed to actually break one of the bits of the rack off. The frame of the bike actually snapped off while I was going down some little muddy road in eastern India.
But the frame is part of this really beautiful concept of why you're cycling around the world, because your dad gave you this bicycle.
Exactly, yeah.
And it was called a Grand Tourer.
It's called the World Tour, the Doors World Tour. It's in the name.
So
so I'll be very sad if that becomes unusable. The most worrying thing I have at the moment, I'm just starting to hit the point now where everything's wearing out. The saddle is starting to wear out. The gear cables are really sticking. Like I say, the rack, the frame actually broke with the rack. And the most worried, worrying thing is that where the pedals go in at the bottom bracket, I got it changed in India, and I got them to put an extra spacer in because I had a gap, because I just done it all myself. So I'd left a gap and it was fine, I had no issues, but I thought, I wanted it to be neat, so I put the spacer in. And in the process of putting that spacer in, they threaded the thread of the bottom bracket. I didn't notice it at the time, but so now it's where it moves, the whole bottom bracket moves as I pedal. But I looked inside and there is thread in there. So now I'm in 2 months in Laos once I get back from Europe for my holiday. I'm spending 2 months there, so I'm going to get proper, moisture removal oil, like the WD-40 style, whatever the WD is, to dry it for 2 months, like in the basement of the apartment, leave it there. And then I've got a different bottom bracket with a bigger cup, and I hope I can thread it deeper into the frame and it'll be all right. Leave my gap. Otherwise, I'll be a bit stuck.
Even if you have to give up the frame, I think it's not, it's almost a beautiful thing in itself. Is the equipment slowly wears out, lets you down, but you're still
still there.
you're the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah.
No, it's a really beautiful concept, and I'm kind of relieved you're starting to get punctures, because it seemed like you weren't getting.
I was having too much of a good time. Yeah.
Statistically.
Broke my first spoke as well,
Oh, really?
It's all starting to happen, yeah.
And how many chains?
Oh, well, not enough. I learned the hard way that I thought that the train would break when it was done, right? But that's not right.
Stretches, right?
But it just stretches and then it damages the sprockets, damages the cogs. So, but this is why I took it into the bike shop in Delhi. I was on the main gear that I use on the front, the central gear. Every time I stood up or put any proper weight on the gear, it just slips through. I got all these scars on my knee because I just kept kneeing the handlebars.
So you thought you needed a new chain?
I thought I needed a new chain, but they were like, no, you've completely worn out. And you could see from the shape of the teeth, it's like a really wide gap between the teeth. And so I had to get my sister to post something out. And I was the first time I cycled into the Himalayas. I only had like half the gears that I had beforehand, because this entire cog just was completely worn out.
Well, you did tell me that on the last episode, and I did listen to you, and I have completely repeated the same mistake by buying a mountain bike in Berlin, where I'm based half the time now.
Yeah.
And I knew I needed something to run around in. €75 second-hand bike. Looked like the chain just needed replacing. Gave me €10 off.
Yeah.
And put a new chain on, and slipping like a mofo.
No idea.
And I've been told new front, new back cogs.
Yeah. I mean, how much do you think it's going to cost?
They quoted me €150. I'm not paying €150. That was €60 labour. I'm going to use. There's a really I should know the name of it, but I don't. It's a really great project in Berlin where they train refugees in how to service bicycles.
Amazing.
And the workshop is open to the public on Friday, so you can go in and a refugee will teach you how to maintain your own bike. And if they have the parts from cannibalised bikes, they will sell you at like a nominal cost the parts that you need. So I'm hoping they've got some gear sets.
I'm sure they will, mountain bike's the most common thing.
Yeah, and like it had 24 gears, and I knew I didn't need 24 gears. And I was actually going on to people about it has 24 gears. It doesn't really.
Spoke too soon.
Probably has like one at the moment, and I don't pedal too much.
Yeah.
So
replace your chain, and I've done it again as well. So in my bag here, I've got another cog. So literally every 1,000 kilometers now, 3 times a month, I'm going to have to replace the chain.
It's really
which
interesting.
is crazy.
It's really interesting. I mean, there's nothing. It's so nice having a new chain.
It is.
You know, when you look at it,
and the sound as
and
well.
How much does a chain cost?
Well, 8 to 10 euros, something like that.
Around the world, right? It's about the same everywhere.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. It's like it's so cheap. You just got
It's
to
so
do
worth it.
You've
Yeah.
got to keep the tyres pumped up, chain oiled, and fresh.
Yes.
You're just doing so many more miles than anyone else.
Yeah. And I think what does it as well is just the weight, because I'm pushing. I think on a normal bike, that chain shouldn't wire out every 1,000 kilometers. That's much too short. But it's just because I'm pulling 50 kilos up, 60 kilos uphill.
When you left the UK, how heavy was your baggage?
Well,
You cut it down
I
quite a
measured.
lot.
Yeah. I cut it down, but now I've got some new stuff, a new weight I'm adding to it. But I cut it to maybe 55 kilos, and then I don't know. I haven't even weighed it recently. I would dread to weigh it to say.
So you cut it down, but you bought some new kit. So you bought a Sony A7 camera,
Yes.
which we were going to use for this, but then we realised the GoPro's got a nice
Got the wide angle.
wide angle on it.
Yeah.
So we're doing that, but we might try and include some shots from your camera
Yeah.
tonight from 7 on Hoxton FM. Have you got any other geeky things to talk about?
What else have I got recently?
I was going to briefly say that
That is cool.
we've got this on an iPhone 6, this big Zeiss
Beastie.
lens.
Which I've already dropped.
So that's what it's got cover. And then the guys at Mixbox sent me this, which is a great little sound card that will connect via lightning cable to your phone, and you can do your Instagram videos with a feed directly from the DJ mixer. You can do a live stream with this. I'm tempted to start doing live streaming with just this.
Yeah, that is an
on a
awesome
stand,
setup, yeah.
and then you can just move the camera rather than all the setup that we've had to go through today.
Yeah.
So
Get rid of the laptop.
I will start using this soon. But check out Evermix and their Mixbox. They just brought out one that works with Android as well. I don't think I've got any other geeky stuff to talk to you about. Like,
No?
not really. I've started just using this Zoom to do all the live streams from.
You've got the new one, the new 360 camera, right? The new Insta 360.
Oh yeah, I've got that, yeah. I was flinging
That's
that
old
around
now.
earlier.
Because I've been using the old one, and I've got one of my upcoming videos, which I'm super excited about, is I climb in Nepal. I climbed to the highest lake in the world on a bike, and I stuck my version of that on my helmet. But yours looks a lot slicker, I have to say.
But you thought it was
A lot
going to
more
be thinner.
integrated.
It's still a
I
bit
did think
chunky.
it would be thinner, yeah.
The 360X is the one you've got, and this is the 360X1.
Yes.
And
And it's lower megapixel, but it's higher quality sensors from what I've heard.
I think the software does some work.
Yeah. Because my one's a bit soft, is how I describe it.
Yeah. I mean, it would be wonderful if you could attach this and use it as a webcam, but that's not a possibility at the moment. There is an element of you can do some quirky stuff with it.
Yeah.
It can get a little bit too quirky, I think, sometimes. I did attach a piece of string to it and swing it around my head in there and record in bullet time. We'll put that up on the Hoxton FM social media on Instagram, Hoxton_FM and Hoxton Forward Movement on Facebook. Yeah, it's fun. The Tiny Planet stuff is good, and obviously if you're jumping off the top of hills with a paraglider,
It's good on your helmet.
when people say to me paraglider, I think of a fixed wing.
Think of hang
thing.
glider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But his paragliding is basically with what looks like a parachute to you and me. But if he jumped out of the plane with that and pulled it, he
It would
would.
become a ribbon.
Yeah, that's what I understand.
Yes, that's a good description of paragliding. Yeah.
But you basically sail through the air. You jump off hills and sail through the air.
Yes, yeah.
And catch thermals.
And it's efficient enough that you can fly. I've now hit a really nice point where this is actually some new tech that I've got, very low tech stuff, but I've reached the point now where I'm good enough at flying that I can fly for hours and hours. Basically, I can stay up all day. But my only limit is my bladder. So what the competition pilots have is basically this catheter, which is like a rubber condom with a plastic tube attached to it.
Wow.
So my sister was very pleased when I ordered that to her work. But yeah, I've got a little supply of those now because I was in Pokhara, which is now one of my favourite places in the world. Absolutely, it's awesome. It's like hippie community by a lake. You can see the full-on Nepalese Himalayas in the range. You can't quite see Everest, but it's like the foothills of the Everest. Snow-capped 7,000 metre high range. and then you can walk half an hour up from the cafe, the riverside, the lakeside, up to the launch. Fly, like I said, I was up for 3 or 4 hours flying around the lake. Land down at the bottom, sit in a cafe, have lunch.
Wow.
Go back up. I had this apartment that looked over the whole lake.
So that's a video you're going to upload?
So I've got a video from there. I've got a couple of paragliding videos from Pokhara, and then because I was there for 2 months, well, just shy of 2 months working on StreamOn. That's when I launched StreamOn. I really wanted to do some trips out into the Himalayas properly. So I cycled to Tilicho Lake, which is this unbelievable lake that's 5,500 meters above sea level. So I left. Normally you hike up from the base camp, well not the base camp, but the where the road ends, basically the normal road ends, and it's maybe a 7 or 8 day hike up there, and then you can go around the back. MC's going to start now. But then you, on the bike I did it in 3 days. I got up to the top, and it's the first time I've ever experienced altitude, like the effects of altitude. It was incredible, right? And the fact that the light was just so strong. Like I had to have my cap. By the time I reached the lake at the top, it was all snow covered, completely covered over with ice. The whole lake was completely capped with ice. I just had to have my peak down, a cap on, sunglasses on, because it was so unbelievably bright. Wow. It was burning the retinas. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, like for anyone who hasn't been at altitude, just everything feels really tiring. You realise what it must be like to be old.
Yeah.
Just walking around and it's just like, oh, I feel really heavy and tired.
Yeah. And I managed to ride and mostly push and carry my bike all the way up.
What did it feel like when you got back to normal levels? Did you suddenly feel kind of superhuman, or everything felt right?
Yeah.
Was it like you were like...
I would say so, but the thing was that because I gave myself quite a short window to do it, I then had to ride like 200 kilometers in one day, and so I was just exhausted. So I could definitely feel more. It's interesting because a lot of like military pilots, they have to do a session in a tank where they take you up to altitude, so you can, because everyone reacts to the altitude differently. And one thing I noticed when I look back at the videos that I took while I was up there is that I got quite silly, and I started saying silly things. And I think that's one of the effects of altitude sickness is you become like a kid basically. Yeah. So luckily I didn't get altitude sickness while I was up there, and I managed to make it up to the lake and down again and all the way back without having any issues. It was a real struggle, but
sounds amazing.
But it's amazing. So I'm going to put together a little film. I'm going to try and do that. Actually, spend some real time on that one. Not that I don't spend time on my normal videos, but
you're going to go to
make
town because it's so special visually.
Yeah.
And so the total amount of miles that you've accumulated on your journey so far?
I'm up just shy of 18,000 kilometers now. Kilometers.
And what is the total circumference of the Earth?
I keep having this conversation. I should know off the top of my head. I think the Guinness World Record is based on the length of the equator, right, which is maybe 60,000 miles, but I'm not sure. Right. But for me, it's very different because I'm going where I want to go. So
zigging and zagging.
When I looked at my original where I would love to go, it's like 120,000 kilometers. But at my current pace, that means I'd be riding for 10 years or something like that. So.
But there's no rush, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing.
As long as I can come back here for holidays in the summer.
It's great. It's really, really cool, and I feel like 11 episodes in, is finally getting across what it's all about.
Yeah.
One of the funny things was to come to HQ, you have to be a member. It's a super cool place, but it's not really for like weed tourists or anything like that. If you want to know more about it, just DM me and I'll tell you what you need to know. But the thing that I thought was really funny earlier was you can get a membership card or a keyring. And I said, get the keyring, it's way easier. And you looked at me and you went, I don't really need keys anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
And I thought, he hasn't got a place, he hasn't got a car, he hasn't got to get into the office, he hasn't got that, he doesn't need keys. So, cycling around the world.
Or at least I get given, the keys to my home, and that's the thing. But I don't have a consistent set of my own keys. It's a different lifestyle, I have to say. But it's a very sustainable lifestyle, I have to say. I think it's amazing. It would be amazing to compare this to some of the early podcasts where we chatted, because the things I was most nervous about when I first left the UK and was second through Europe was just whether it would be a sustainable thing. Because I left with less than £1,000 in my my personal bank account. I but most people leave for a year and they've got 10 grand to pay for just visas alone and the travel in between. But it really is a nice, sustainable lifestyle, and I can work digital nomad style from the office. I can
and those people
cycle,
with the 10 grand, they're the ones that are like trying to haggle on like buying dinner in the Philippines when I'm with my dad and stuff, and they're haggling over like paying £1.50 or £1.75 for their dinner, which is amazing, freshly produced like food, and you're thinking, you've saved to come travelling, you're doing this. And I will tell everyone at home, Ben bought me lunch.
So I'm obviously doing alright.
So he's doing great. He's doing great.
Yeah. No, it's wicked. It's a wicked lifestyle. It's really a good lifestyle. Yeah, and I get to enjoy the places so much. Like last time Pukora, I was just didn't want to leave, man. It was perfect because for the price of a room, a shared house in Zone 4 in London, I had a penthouse on the top overlooking the lake. It was jungle behind, and had a balcony the length of the building. And I had like a 2-bedroom place overlooking the thing.
Wow. You
can see the whole lake out in front of you. It's just, it's awesome.
Wow. I can't wait for that video.
Yeah.
So that will be on the Ben Around the World YouTube channel.
Yes, growing nicely, growing.
Going for thousands. What's beautiful about it is you're just cataloguing it all, and then people can come back and look at it. And I'm sure you'll end up doing like condensed kind of highlights. That people can then kind of go, I want to know more about that, and then go back to the instalments. Yeah, for now it's more like a diary-based thing, but I'm trying to pull out interesting things that took me a while to figure out. Like, one thing that I found really helpful is having other people that are cycling around the world ahead of me. These people that are doing it quickly, they're doing it in giving you tips.
Yeah, exactly. So I've kind of condensed that. There's a lot of stuff that I had no clue about. Like, I didn't realise that there's a lot of people that just live in Asia, and maybe you know more about this, but and they know how to work with visas to stay in Asia for a long period of time. I had no clue that you can basically. I thought that a 3-month visa in Laos, for example, that's 3 months, and then you're out for a year or whatever, because that's what would apply in the UK.
You can dip your toe out to another country and then come back. And it's kind of there's all
that was
stuff.
News for me. I didn't even realise that before when I left. It's all valuable stuff to know. Which border to go where, what you can eat as a vegetarian or not in different countries, what it's like cycling there. I could spend a whole podcast talking about my favourite and my least favourite regions of different parts of India and Nepal and Southeast Asia so far.
Well, we could do that. Is there anything else you want to mention in this podcast?
Well, I suppose the most interesting country that I've been through in the last leg was Myanmar, because that's really not somewhere that people choose to go on holiday necessarily, or go to as a destination.
Well, funnily enough, shout out to Ruby, who helped me get the place that I'm staying in near Arc de Triomphe here in Barcelona. She was living here for I think 6 or 7 years. Really amazing DJ, part of the Communa collective, and she moved out to Myanmar.
Yeah, really?
So
she's living there now.
She's back at the moment in Europe, but she's going back out there again.
Wow.
So I'll try and get you in touch.
That would be awesome. Yeah. It just blew me away really compared to India. Like, it's so untouched in a way that India's just such an incredibly advanced country now in terms of like middle class and everything. And there's just so many people there that how a sixth of the world's population or something. Across the border in Myanmar, just literally crossing that line, invisible line, made all the difference. I was just suddenly in these untouched rainforests, it's just unbelievable.
Wow.
Houses on stilts, golds, Buddhist pagodas, and incredible.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Are we about to be
I think there's going to be some sort of cannabis bingo happening here.
Nice.
It might be at 4, it might be at 4:30, but I think it gives us an opportunity to step away seamlessly. 44 minutes into a broadcast.
This is a record podcast for us, I think.
Possibly
we need
one
to do
of
it in
the
person.
more interesting ones. So Ben Bowler, Ben Around the World, still travelling. Might never come back to the UK, but it's been great catching him in Europe. It's been great being in the same room as him, probably for the first time in, I don't know, last time.
18 months.
18
years,
So we will continue to do these podcasts through the Google Hangouts.
The powers of Hangout. Not powered by Hoxton FM technology.
And then we'll continue to catch up with other guys racing around the world who are giving you amazing tips.
Yes, we've got a couple more coming up people that I've met on the road, and actually I met a guy called Steve in Myanmar, caught me up because he's going so fast. It's the first time that's happened.
You just don't want to get lapped. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, and we managed to not mention USB-C.
Yes.
Which is great. I'm very happy with my normal boring USB, but it would be nice one day for us to have no cables at all,
Yeah.
and everything wireless.
That'll be a topic for the next episode.
That will be a topic for the next episode. Catch you later. Tune in tonight, 7 o'clock, Hoxton FM live from HQ Barcelona. And thank you to all the staff here. Amazing
Awesome
place.
Awesome
And
place.
love coming here every year.
Thanks, Dan.